So you think the NFL season is over? Think again. In a lot of ways, the real game is just getting started. This is the offseason, and it's this high-stakes chess match where one single move, one draft pick, one blockbuster trade can literally define a franchise for the next decade. So let's get right into it. I mean, this is the million-dollar question, right? It's what every single owner, GM, and every fan is screaming about right now. And look, the answer is, well, it's not simple. It's this super complex puzzle of pure strategy, calculated risk, and hey, maybe just a little bit of luck. See, you've got to be playing chess, thinking 5 moves ahead like a grandmaster, just plotting out your entire path to victory. But at the same time, you also get to be that armchair GM, playing Madden, dreaming up these absolutely wild, league-shattering trades that have zero consequences. And today, we're going to do both. Okay, so let's start at the very foundation of any great team, the NFL draft. This is where dynasties are born. It's all about finding that one guy who can change everything. And this year, when you talk about quarterbacks, the conversation really begins and ends with 2 names. So on one side, you've got Fernando Mendoza. This guy is the definition of a can't-miss prospect. I mean, it's not a question of if he's going number 1 to the Raiders, it's more like what neighborhood is he going to buy a house in. And then you've got Ty Simpson from Bama, the clear number 2 guy, but where he goes in the draft, that's the huge mystery. The one domino that could shake up the entire first round. So why is Mendoza such a sure thing? Well, look no further than this number right here. 41 touchdowns. And it's not just about the stats. The guy showed insane improvement, like cutting his sacks in half. He has the pocket awareness of a 10-year vet. He is the total package, ready to walk in and completely transform an offense from day one. No question. But okay, getting the quarterback, that's just step 1. The real debate, the philosophical argument that divides front offices, is how you build around him. And right now, there are basically 2 dominant schools of thought on how to do it. Okay, so path number 1, you find your guy. Think Peyton Manning in Indy or Joe Burrow in Cincy. And you pour every single resource you have into building a fortress around him. It's the most direct path to relevance. If you truly believe Mendoza's that dude, you draft him and you never, ever look back. But then there's the other way to do it. You build a monster team first. I'm talking a punishing defense, a brick wall for an offensive line, the whole shebang. And then you find a capable quarterback to plug in and just manage the game. Kind of like what the Seahawks did with Russell Wilson when they won the Super Bowl. So that's the big question, right? For a team like the Raiders, which blueprint do you follow? All right, enough with the sensible draft day stuff. Let's get to the fun part, the Madden moves. Let's throw the draft board out the window for a minute and talk about the blockbuster trades. The what-ifs that could send established superstars to new cities and just completely change the entire landscape of the league. And let's start this conversation in New York. We all know the Jets are desperate for a quarterback. So here's a name that's being floated around that is fascinating. Kyler Murray. We're talking a former number 1 overall pick, a guy with a totally unique skill set, who just might be looking for a fresh start somewhere else. Now, just looking at the X's and O's on the field, this makes a ton of sense. Kyler's mobility, it's the perfect antidote for an offensive line that's, well, let's just say it's a work in progress. And his arm talent would finally unlock a stud receiver like Garrett Wilson. He's a proven guy who can win you games right now. But, and there's always a but, this move is absolutely 100% fraught with peril. I mean, let's be real. In Arizona, there were questions about his leadership, right? So can a guy like that handle the New York media, that pressure cooker? For a team with a coach on the hot seat, a team that is desperate for stability, this is the ultimate high-risk, high-reward gamble. It could be brilliant, or it could blow up in their faces, spectacularly. Okay, let's switch gears and head over to another contender with a very, very clear need. The Buffalo Bills have an absolute superstar in Josh Allen, but he needs a weapon, a true number 1 receiver. So the question isn't if they should add one, it's who. And man, there are a couple of incredible options on the table. And this is such a classic front office dilemma. Option 1, you go out and sign the consummate veteran pro, Mike Evans. We're talking a future Hall of Famer, a Super Bowl champ. He'd be the perfect mentor for their younger guys. Or do you swing for the fences and trade for A.J. Brown, a guy who is just in a different stratosphere, an absolute game wrecker? You put him with Josh Allen, and you might have the most dominant duo in the entire league. One move is the smart, safe bet. The other is a massive home run swing. Okay. We've saved the craziest, most bonkers idea for last. If you're really gonna fire up Madden with the force trade option on, this is what you do. You go straight for the jugular. And this next proposal, it does exactly that. And it involves two of the league's most iconic franchises. Just look at this. The Dallas Cowboys, who are desperate for help on defense, go out and trade for all-pro defensive end Maxx Crosby. And in return, the Las Vegas Raiders, who need a top-tier weapon for their brand-new rookie QB, get star wideout George Pickens. I know, it sounds nuts on the surface, but stick with me. Let's break down why this actually might make a crazy amount of sense. So, to really get why this trade is even a conversation, you have to understand what Maxx Crosby is. He isn't just a great pass rusher. The guy is a legitimate force multiplier. He plays with this relentless motor that is absolutely infectious. His effort alone, just him being on the field, would elevate every single player on that Dallas defense from the second he steps in the building. And this is the beauty of it. This is why it could actually work for everybody involved. For Dallas, you immediately fix your single biggest weakness on a defense that was, let's be honest, statistically one of the worst. For Vegas, you get a premier #1 weapon for your new quarterback, Fernando Mendoza. And for Crosby himself, at 28, in his prime, he gets to leave a team that's rebuilding and go compete for a Super Bowl right now. You know, when you boil it all down, every single decision this offseason, whether it's a draft pick, a free agent signing, a crazy trade, it all comes down to one simple calculation: balancing risk versus reward. And sometimes that calculation comes down to some really cold, hard logic. Look, for a team like the Raiders, keeping a phenomenal player like Maxx Crosby, it might not be enough to make you a real contender next year. You're probably going to lose a lot of games either way. So the thinking is, why not lose those games without him and get a huge haul of picks in return that you can use to build a true contender down the road? It's a painful move, for sure, but sometimes it's a necessary one. And that brings us right back to where we started. There are no easy answers here. So what do? Do you play chess, make the safe, smart, calculated move? Or do you fire up Madden and go for that one league-shattering trade? If you're the GM, what's your move? Would you make the safe pick, or would you go for the jugular? Because that one decision could change absolutely everything.